My name is Hayden Lee. I am Dr. Kirkhowitz's graduate student in the weed science department. I'm on my second year of my master's degree and hoping to graduate this spring. Today I'll be sharing with you a little bit about my experiments that we have been doing with Tolvera on grass weed control in small grains. Grass weed control in small grains, what do we currently have? We have a variety of different herbicides available, but when looking at post-emergence control, we are limited to groups 1 and 2 herbicides. When we overuse and abuse some of these groups, we can start to select for resistance problems. Green foxtail, for example, is a species that has become resistant to both groups. When that happens, where do we go for in-season herbicide control? One option that is new is Tolvera herbicide. It's a new herbicide developed by Corteva. It provides broadleaf and grass weed control and is labeled in spring wheat, winter wheat, durum, and barley. Similar herbicides such as Husky and Talinor because of the group 27 and 6 synergistic combination. However, with Tolvera, we do see some grass activity. That is mainly due to tolpyrrolate, which is a new active ingredient to the cereals market. Again, the combination consists of tolpyrrolate and bromoxynil. Tolpyrrolate is the group 27 HPPD inhibitor, and bromoxynil is the group 6 system 2 inhibitor. Here is a nice little visual I found on Corteva's website. It's the Tolvera fact sheet, just listing the different, listing the different broadleaves that are controlled. And there is 4 current grass weeds listed, which is why we want to do a little bit more research into what else we can control. There's 3 experiments we are mainly working with in the field. We're testing Tolvera's application timing on resistant green foxtail. So which growth stages is the optimal stage to target. 1 to 2 leaf, 2 to 3 leaf, and 4 leaf to tillering growth stages are the different application timings. We're also comparing Tolvera to groups 1 and 2 herbicides in those studies. Moving on to the greenhouse trials, we did a state green foxtail as resistance screening to help gauge the resistance of group 1 and 2 throughout the state. And we also included Tolvera in that experiment to make sure we are picking up control on the resistant strains. Since if it was site of action resistance, we should expect to see control, but if it was another form of resistance, such as metabolic resistance, maybe we'll see less control there. Then also we're doing species dose response experiments on 8 different grass weeds to see if there's any other weeds that Tolvera can also control outside of the label. Getting into the field research, quick materials and methods, just randomized complete block design of 4 reps at 8.5 gallons per acre spray volume. And then the treatments are applied at 3 different growth stages, like I mentioned earlier. 1 to 2 leaf, 2 to 3 leaf, and 4 leaf to tillering. Here's the treatments for each application timing. Tolpyrrolate by itself at a low rate, tolpyrrolate at a high rate, then the combination of tolpyrrolate and bromoxynil, also in Tolvera at a low rate, and then Tolvera at a high rate, and then compared to that group 1 Axiobold and group 2 teammate. Here's a nice visual that I got from Prosper 2 summers ago. We have a group 1 resistant green foxtail site here. As you can see on the right, as you can see on the right, we have Axiobold at 15 fluid ounces per acre. That almost looks like an untreated check. And then on the left, Tolvera at 14.7 fluid ounces per acre. That is surprisingly picking up a lot of that green foxtail. And this was applied at a very late tillering application timing, which is kind of outside the window that we were targeting, but it still did fairly decent control. Moving on, here's a Fargo site. This is just highlighting the different application timings. On the far left here, we have the 1 to 2 leaf application timing at 21 days after treatment. Excellent control. Moving on to the 3 to 4 leaf application timing still have really good control. A lot of the green sprigs you're seeing here is actually volunteer wheat. So I think I rated that at somewhere from 95 to 98% control. And then the last application timing of the 4-leaf to tillering, we are seeing pretty good control here, but we're starting to see more escapes. Some of these green escapes did produce seed and grow ahead, which can promote resistance. Here's a little graphic I included. Although we're seeing excellent control at that 1 to 2 leaf stage, it is such an early application timing that green foxtail was able to still grow throughout the growing season and affect yield. So I'd recommend to maybe target more of that 2 to 3 leaf, that middle application timing for the best control without promoting any resistance with that late tillering stage. Am I speaking in the mic all right? Joe, can everyone hear me?
You're good.
Sorry. Moving on to some of the greenhouse experiments. Another randomized complete block design with 4 reps, 17 gallons per acre spray volume. We were sent in 37 different problematic ecotypes across the state to screen for group 1 and 2 resistance. The group 1s that needed an oil adjuvant received it. Group 2s, I believe they all received a non-ionic surfactant plus Amsol. And then Tolvera, Tolpurelate, and PowerMax were included just to compare. This is a lot to look at, but I believe it's valuable information. Just on the left here is all the populations given a code. On this first square here, as you can see, it's highlighted all the group 1 herbicides. And then in this second box to the right is all the group 2 herbicides. As you can see, we have some ecotypes that are resistant to group 1 and 2 herbicides. You have some ecotypes susceptible group 1, resistant to group 2. And then we have some that are resistant to group 1 and susceptible to group 2. So there's a widespread of resistance, whether it's group 1, 2, and or both. It just depends on the location and geography. One thing that's nice to see is we are still controlling it with Tolvera. As far as group 1 herbicides go, selected quite well in all the ecotypes with just a handful of resistant populations. And then going into the group 2s, beyonded quite well as well with only 3 populations received being resistant. And then just highlighting again that Tolvera is controlling all these ecotypes. Moving on into the species dose response experiments. Randomized complete block design again, 17 gallons per acre. We included 7 different rates of Tolvera on 8 different grass weed species. The 7 rates are unique. We didn't use half rates. Just we wanted to kind of help shape our sigmoidal dose response curve, so we used some logarithmic half rates. Here's a nice visual showing the dilution and the different potency of the herbicides and how we're supposed to form these curves. Treatment 6 is the highest labeled Tolvera rate at 14.7 fluid ounces per acre. Getting into these curves, important thing to notice here, this ED80 line, also known as the effective dose 80, is what we want to be above at the 1x rate. Stinkgrass, for example, following this curve up, 1x rate is below it, so we're not really controlling stinkgrass all that well with Tolvera. Same goes for woolly cupgrass. 1x rate still well below the ED80, so don't expect great control for either of those 2 species. However, wild proso millet, we do see that the 1x rate is above that ED80, receiving around 85 to 90% control. And then for the witchgrass species, we see as well the 1x rate being above the ED80. So if you do have field with these 4 species, expect fairly decent control on wild proso millet, witchgrass. However, stinkgrass and woolly cupgrass might still give you problems. The other 4 species, I know I said 8, are already on the label, so I didn't think it was too important to include them. That was large crabgrass, green foxtail, yellow foxtail, and barnyard grass. So that's kind of the gist of that. Application timing and a few different species that you should be able to control. I think maybe further research should be done on different annual grass species to see what else can be controlled with Tolvera. How much time we got for questions? Plenty. The question was, did we experiment with different spray volumes? In the greenhouse, we did use 17 just to ensure coverage. In the field, we used 8.5, kind of as more applicable farming practice, I guess. I know farmers like to spray as many acres as they can. I saw a similar control between the 8.5 and 17 on green foxtail species, but could be more research done on that.